How am I supposed to stay calm when you give me an episode like that? How is someone supposed to stay calm? Please, someone tell me, how can I stay fucking calm after this? Fate. I want to try to stay calm. I want to kind of lower my fanboy. That's what I'm going to try to do. It's fucking hard because this... Okay. This episode, man. I just want to talk about the ending first, okay? The fucking fights, man. The fights. Do I even need to say why? The fucking music. The fucking music. The animation, man. Did you see that freaking CGI on Saber? When she blocked that attack, unblockable attack that Lancer used. Did you see that CGI? Oh my god. I don't even want to know how much that cost in budget. That fucking scene. That scene, man, puts movies to shame. Major movies to shame. That, man. Fucking shaking, man. It's just... the budget that is placed in this series. Like someone pointed out last week, now I kind of talked about last week, I will use it. Unlimited budget works. Perfect nickname to this series. Unlimited budget works. Seriously. It's the only thing to describe this adaptation of Fate Stay Night, Unlimited Blade Works. The amount of money that went into these two episodes is ridiculous. More money than majority of one full-length anime season usually has. I'm willing to bet it. These two episodes are more than probably like a 12 or even 24 episode series. Just by the amount of fucking CGI, budget, music, animation, the voice acting, everything. It is so ridiculous. It is fucking mind-blowing. Now, besides the fanboying and just talking about the fights, that was just so fucking fluid. Like, oh my god. Why, Crunchyroll, did you make me wait so many hours for this to come out? Why did you make me wait? You're making me stay away from my Fate greatness. Why did you make me wait? But I'm so glad I did. I'm so fucking glad I did for that quality. Oh. Okay. This episode, let's talk about it. Okay, let's get in and dive deep into this episode of Fate Stay Night. I want to point out something very interesting that I noticed with this episode. Actually, no, let me back up from that real quick and talk about something. I know certain things about the visual novel, about the game, for instance, of Unlimited Blade Works. I know some things about this route, but I've never actually officially finished the Unlimited Blade Works route in Fate Stay Night. I've never finished it, so I don't technically know the ending conclusion. Just letting you all know that right now. But I do know some aspects, and as you know, I watched Fate Zero, Fate Khalid, the original Fate Stay Night, and I know some of the original Fate series, like from the visual novel. Well, in this episode, I'm going to tell you right now, the chivalry that Lancer used with Emiya was very impressive. Once again, it makes me remember the original Lancer from Fate Zero. That's exactly what Lancer in Fate Stay Night reminds me of, because as you see, when Emiya was about to be stabbed in this episode, like when he was running, he's like, holy shit, man, I'm fucking running. Oh my god. When he was running in that music, man, and when he turns around and he sees nothing, and then all of a sudden he hears a voice behind him, hey, kid, and when he turns around, he gets stabbed right in the fucking heart. That, even though it seems cowardly, Lancer actually had chivalry in that entire moment. You want to know why? Because he actually wanted the person that he killed to face him. That's exactly what Lancer would do in Fate Zero. He wanted the person he would kill to face him. He would never strike someone in the back unless his master forced him to with command seals. So with this entire aspect, it's really crazy getting to see how Lancers are very proud and they will not attack someone in the back. And another thing I noticed is a bunch of Lancers, the Lancers that we've seen so far, or I've seen so far from Type Moon, why are they all under, like, shitty-ass masters? Why? Why is Lancer always under shitty masters? I don't fucking know. But anyways, this episode, though, I want to tell you, the overall build-up of this episode and the way they used the perspective of Emiya was just greatness. It was so much greatness. The way they showed us the perspective of Emiya this entire episode. Like, the first episode showed us, you know, Rin's entire perspective when she summoned Archer. This episode goes back to the beginning, pretty much where episode 0 started off in, the first episode we had last week. Well, in this, it starts back to, like, pretty much 0 minutes when the series began, and we get to see it from Emiya's perspective, what he has to go through, his character, get to learn more about him, get to see the people around him, and then we get to see how Saber was summoned. I'm gonna tell you right now, the way Saber was fucking summoned, oh my god. That badass summoning, okay? He backs up and all that. He's like on the fucking floor. Emiya's crawling on the floor. He has Lancer about to freaking kill him. And you just see Saber come out of fucking nowhere, slashes and blocks it, and kicks fucking ass in that music. Oh my god. That was freaking ridiculous. That was fucking ridiculous when you saw that scene. When she just peers the... Oh. I could talk forever about these scenes. I could. So I want to move on. So I do want to talk about something real quick. There is a lot of interesting dialogue in this episode. If you watched Fate Zero, you most likely keyed in on some very interesting dialogue, like the entire bit when Saber noticed the name of Emiya. For instance, like, Emiya? She remembered Kuritsugu. You remember him? Yeah. We get to actually see Kuritsugu in this episode, and that right there, man, makes this episode go to 10 out of fucking 10. Just seeing Kuritsugu again, oh my god. He is a motherfucking badass. I'm just gonna say right now, he is a badass. And to see him once again, it actually makes me sad in this episode. You wanna know why it makes me sad? Because to see how much he's been worn down, how much broken he is, like he's broken compared to how he was in Fate Zero. You see how his entire aspect on life has changed after what happened in the last Holy Grail War. And to see how he looks in this episode with his eyes all hollowed, pretty much, it really strikes you. It really strikes you how much that entire ending part when he saw what he would do to his family, you could tell how much it really affected him in Fate Zero when you see this episode. And seeing it like that, it really makes you fucking depressed for Kuritsugu. It really does. It makes me really depressed for his character. And we also get a little bit of glimpses of Gilgamesh this episode with Sakura. Now, Gilgamesh. Oh my god, dude. Okay, seriously. Gilgamesh is messing with Sakura, as we can see in this episode, and that's just incredibly fucking badass, okay? Gilgamesh is the shit. After that entire bit with Ryder and Gilgamesh, I've had respect for that character, even though he did something I didn't like. Pretty much, seeing Gil again is pretty awesome. It was really awesome seeing him. Even though he didn't have no dialogue this episode, and he didn't talk, he was just showcased, like, for a couple seconds in this episode. Pretty much, we know who it was. If you watched Fate Zero, you should know who that was. It's pretty obvious. And that's, once again, why I'd say I would recommend watching Fate Zero before you watch this series, because, really, you will see so many different aspects to the series if you've watched Fate Zero before Fate Stay Night. If you have seen Fate Zero and you come into this episode, you get so much more emotions. I felt like I have a lot more emotions to this series, noticing now the correlation between the characters from Fate Zero and Fate Stay Night. Like I said, the Lancers, the entire relationship with the Lancers, or Saber and Emiya, or Kuritsugu, seeing the link between that, or the entire bit with how Emiya was hollowed, or there's different parts I could go further on, like Kuritsugu's, ideology in this episode. That right there spun me for a fucking loop. When I first watched this series, it was when I was like, it was 2006 it came out. I watched it that year it came out. I watched, Fate Stay Night from Studio Dean. And I was young, and I wasn't that mature at the time, so I didn't understand certain themes of series. Like, I couldn't possibly have read Berserk at that time. I would have completely had all those themes and stuff just fly over my fucking head. Honestly, that's what I would have thought. But now that I've matured and grown older, seeing the ideology from Kuritsugu, what he says to Emiya, really strikes you. It's really fucking depressing what he says. Like, he specifically says, like, if you save one person, you will sacrifice another. And that's what it means to be a hero of justice. He's like, there's really no righteous hero that could save everybody. Because as we know, Kuritsugu in Fate Zero, he tried so many times. Even his wish was to save the world, save people. And he saw that hell through the Holy Grail, what he had to deal with. And to see this entire aspect of how his entire ideology has changed. He's trying to pass that on to Emiya and let him learn from his mistakes is really sad. And Emiya now understands his entire ideology. Like he says, he understands what it means to be a hero of justice. He knows what it stands to save one person and sacrifice another. But he says he doesn't like it, but that's how it is. So you could clearly see the maturity in the themes right there between Kuritsugu and Emiya, and I love that entire aspect in this episode. That right there, honestly, in a perspective of being critical as a reviewer, that's one of the best parts of the episode. Getting to see the ideology of Emiya and Kuritsugu. That was the best. That was honestly one of my favorite moments. And then the entire bit with how Emiya shows us his powers in this episode, like Trace On. You see his powers of how he can fix things. For instance, he's using his novice-type magic to repair random objects like washers, dryers, heaters, shit like that. You see him repairing certain objects in his club room this episode to demonstrate his power, and he seems to be a novice mage that's pretty shitty at being a mage. That's from what we can see. And as we know, if I remember correctly, Kuritsugu wasn't really that good of a mage either. I mean, he had, Excel, Axel, and stuff. He can go freaking crazy fast, but I mean, the point of it is he never was the best mage of all time, and he mainly relied on his weapons. So you can clearly see, since Kuritsugu wasn't the best mage of all time, of course Emiya would suffer in that aspect. He has to rely probably on one magic ability and probably his wits. And to see that once again, it just makes my overall eyes and perspective of Fate Stay Night grow even fucking larger. This series is very mature, and there's so many themes you can dive into and notice about certain individual characters if you know what to expect. For instance, if you've seen Fate Zero, you can respect this series so much more, and if you've seen this series, you can respect Fate Zero so much more, because there's just so much connections, 2 different fucking packages between these series, and it's unbelievable. It's so fucking unbelievable seeing how great these series link and intertwine together, and the writing of it. It's fucking amazing. Now, one thing I will say, though, we get to see Emiya demonstrate his abilities against Lancer, and that right there, man, I went full fucking fanboy. I went fanboy when I saw Lancer come from the freaking roof stabbing down on Emiya, and Emiya dodges, and he's like, Trace On, you see him put, like, his little, like, paper fucking sword, and he hoards it with his magic, and is trying to fight Lancer! He's trying to fight Lancer! Dude, he's trying to fight fucking Lancer with a paper-ass fucking sword! Who the hell fights Lancer? No. Let's back up. Who fights a fucking heroic spirit? No. Or who fights a person, any person, with a paper fucking sword when they have a lance? No one. That is some balls. That is some mega fucking cojones. That is insane. Him fighting Lancer, and he actually is kind of putting up a fight, but we can tell that Lancer's just playing around. We can tell Lancer's messing around with Emiya the entire fight, but still, he was kind of fighting back. He didn't get absolutely fucking slaughtered. I mean, he didn't. And to see how he used like a paper-ass shield to block his final encounter to save himself, and then Saber comes in, that was just incredible. It shows you how quick he is on his feet with his intelligence to think ahead. It reminds you a lot of Kuritsugu. Now, this is going to be venturing into some form of spoiler territory. This is a major spoiler for anyone that hasn't watched Fate Zero or Fate Khalid. If you've never seen any of those series, most likely this will be spoilers for what I'm about to mention. So, I want to let you know now, mute the video and just wait until I do this. When I do this, I will stop with the spoiler. Okay, so Ilya appears in this episode. That right there, man. Just now knowing the connection that Ilya is technically the sister or stepsister or half-sister of Emiya is fucking unbelievable. Because, I mean, her technically having Berserker is just like, oh my god. Oh my god. That is crazy. So fucking crazy seeing how now I understand the connections between Ilya and Emiya. I mean, when I watched Fate Stay Night, the original anime adaptation, I had no fucking idea about that. I remember I had no idea Ilya and, Emiya was related at all. And to see the relation technically now, it just opens your eyes up even brighter. Like, what has happened to Ilya to make her like that? What has happened to her for her character to go that dark? You can clearly see she has darkness in her because she's grown up without parents pretty much from what we can see. So what exactly has happened? Okay, that's the end of the spoilers right there for anyone that didn't want to hear my conversation I was just talking about. So anyways, this overall episode, man, it is just great. It managed to mix in comedy, action, plot development, foreshadowing, awesome fucking CGI, to ideology of characters that's amazing, brilliant writing, and the dark themes are incredible, and chivalry between Lancer and Saber and stuff like that. I love it so fucking much. And to see how this episode ends and trolls us once again, trolls us again, leaves us like pretty much where episode 0 left off of, and it's like that. Just I like the entire aspect of the way this is being adapted. This is just truly greatness. I have never been this excited for an anime for quite a long time. I am so pumped up and excited for this series every freaking Saturday. I can talk about this for hours. I could. It is just that fun. It is so fun watching. I'm going to end this here because I don't want to keep rambling on and talking about stuff. I pretty much got the point across. Episode was amazing. Getting to see the different perspectives of the characters. It was great. 10 out of 10 episode, in my opinion. It's my opinion, but it's 10 out of 10. Love you all so much.